Have you ever stopped to wonder why some product features just feel essential while others are kind of nice to have? And then there are those rare features that give you that genuine wow moment. Well, it turns out there's a real science to it. We're going to unpack a super powerful framework called the Kano model, a tool that helps us figure out what customers really want.
You know, every single product team runs into this problem. You've got this massive list of potential features, bug fixes, brilliant ideas, but you just don't have enough time or people to do it all. And that leads to the biggest question of all. No, seriously, how do you do it? Do you just go with whatever the loudest person in the room wants, or the feature that just seems the coolest? Guessing is a recipe for disaster, for building things that nobody actually cares about. There's got to be a better way to make these calls, right? And there is. This is exactly where the Kano model steps in. It's this really elegant way of thinking that cuts through all the noise and gives you real clarity on which features are going to make the biggest splash with your customers. So what is this thing exactly? Well, it was developed way back in the 1980s by a guy named Professor Noriaki Kano, and he designed it for one specific reason: to categorize product features based on how they actually make a customer feel. It's all about getting inside your user's head. And here's the absolute core of the whole idea: the relationship between just adding more stuff and making customers happier. Well, it isn't a straight line. Not at all. Some features matter way, way more than others, and they affect our satisfaction in totally different ways. See, the model breaks down every possible feature you can think of into 5 distinct categories. And if you can understand these 5 types, you've basically unlocked the whole framework. So let's break them down one by one. First up, we've got what are called must-be, or basic needs. Just think of these as the absolute, non-negotiable things a product has to have. They're the features customers just assume will be there without even thinking twice about it. Now, here's the kind of weird thing about them. If a must-be feature is there, customers don't even notice. They're totally neutral. But if it's missing, oh, they get incredibly dissatisfied. It's a complete deal breaker. The classic example is brakes on a new car. I mean, you'd never buy a car and go, "Wow, I am so delighted this thing has brakes." You just expect it. But if you found out the car didn't have brakes, you'd be horrified, right? That is a must-be feature. Okay, next up, we have what are called one-dimensional or performance needs. And with these, the logic is way more straightforward. The more of it you have, the happier your customer is going to be. It's a totally direct relationship. More is better, less is worse. Simple as that. These are the features that customers are actively looking for, and it's what they use to compare your product against your competitors. Better performance just means a better product. Just think about fuel efficiency in a car or the battery life on your smartphone. A phone with 12 hours of battery is fine, but one with 24 hours of battery, that's amazing. It's twice as good. More is just clearly, obviously better. And that brings us to my personal favorite, the most exciting category: attractive features, or as they're often called, delighters. These are the unexpected surprises, the things that create those genuine wow moments and build some serious customer loyalty. And the way they work is really unique. If a delighter is missing, nobody cares. Why would they? They never expected it in the first place. But when it's there, it creates this huge spike in satisfaction. It's a pure bonus. So imagine you buy some software, and then, like a year later, out of the blue, you get a massive update with new features, totally for free. You weren't expecting it, it wasn't promised, but man, it makes you feel like you got incredible value. That's a delighter. All right, so to round things out, there are 2 other categories. They're pretty straightforward. First, you have indifferent features. These are things your customers just don't care about at all, like what the circuit board inside their toaster looks like. Then you have reverse features, which are tricky. Some people love them, but other people actively hate them. Think about auto-playing videos on a news site. Yeah, those. Okay, so we get the categories. That's the theory. But how do you actually figure out which of your features belongs where? Well, this is the best part. You don't have to guess. You use a tool called the Kano questionnaire. It's this really clever but super simple 2-part survey. For any feature you're thinking about, you ask customers 2 questions. First, how would you feel if this feature was here? And second, how would you feel if this feature wasn't here? And by comparing their 2 answers, you can pinpoint exactly which of the 5 categories that feature falls into. So, why does any of this matter? Well, once you've classified your features, you suddenly have a massive strategic advantage. You're not operating on hunches anymore. And this is crucial. You understand that these categories change over time. Today's awesome delighter can easily become tomorrow's must-be feature as everyone's expectations change. This model helps you see that happening.
And this is where it all comes together. You can now build a real strategy. First, you make sure all your must-be features are rock solid. Then, you invest in the performance features that'll give you an edge over the competition. And finally, you strategically sprinkle in some delighters to build a loyal fan base, all while making sure you don't waste a single minute on features nobody even wants. So, at the end of the day, it all comes back to these 5 categories. By sorting your giant list of ideas into must-be, performance, attractive, indifferent, and reverse, you can turn a confusing backlog into a clear, data-driven, strategic roadmap. Which leaves us with one last thing to think about. Looking at your own work, or maybe just a product you love to use, what's that one unexpected feature, that one true delighter, that could be added to totally transform the experience for everyone? It's a really powerful question to ask.